Hi, Scorpio rising sign. Here is your weekly forecast starting on the 21st of April until the 27th of April. So this week feels like it's kind of like an unloading of a lot of pressure from you. You're moving from a long cycle of intense relationship disruptions into a 7 year cycle focused on depth, psychological complexes, shared resources, even psychological transformation. Now, there is a lot of activation happening in your fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth house, and a bit in the 10th as well. So, for the last 7 years, Uranus has been sitting in your seventh house, likely bringing erratic behavior from partners or sudden shifts in your one on one connections. And on the 26th, that lightning finally moves into your eighth house. You're moving from relational instability to financial and psychological revolution. And you might be wondering that, oh, Victor, the eighth house is a lot more difficult than the seventh. And maybe you are right. But remember, you are at the beginning of the cycle. And then when you use it well, then you can use it really well. So this is about you taking the lessons you have learned about other people and finally applying them to your own deep empowerment. Now, but the first step is armor moving into your sixth house. And it's important, it's going to be there for 9 months. Eros enters Leo, your 10th house, and Bacchus enters Gemini, which is your 8th house. So you feel this surge of ambition and the desire for depth. Your 10th house of career is glowing with a Eros charisma, while your 8th house is buzzing with a desire for intimate as well as financial variety. So, with armor stopping in your sixth house, review your daily habit. Fall in love with fitness, for example. Start an 8 month review of how you are serving others versus how you are protecting your own health. What do you do for your own body? You can really use the Eros in Leo to step into the spotlight at work, leading with passion. People are attracted to you now as an authority figure, especially. So, this is super good for business possibilities. And you can really use that Bacchus in your eighth house to have witty, light-hearted talks about heavy topics like investments or intimacy or where does the relationship is heading right now. Amos in your sixth house says that you might get to become impulsive when it comes to like a rescue mission, for example, at work. You might want to say a bit of a no there. Or Eros in the 10th house can become a bit of bossy energy as well. And it's a little bit like coming off as a diva to colleagues. So we can use that fire to inspire, not necessarily to dictate. And Bacchus in the eighth house can make people a bit chatty about things that should stay private. So let's just keep that vault locked. Now, Venus is making a conjunction to Uranus right on 29 degree of Taurus. Of course, that's your seventh house. That's your last call to make a change in your relationship dynamic, to spice it up a little bit. So you can have a sudden breakthrough with a partner, or if you feel like that you have been stuck in a situation with someone, a client, a spouse, that could be snapping too. So it's about deciding that we're gonna start with a clean slate. It's like a relationship might have been kind of limping along. So we can really start sitting down and then revolutionize that relationship. Or I'm gonna walk away. The 29 degree is an exit point, and it's not just the spouse, it's any type of contractual agreements as well. Also, if you're single, you might meet someone totally not your type, someone who shocks you, but in a good way, though. And I think it also tells you not to wait for the other person to act. Use your Venusian power to kind of shift the dynamics in your own favor. I would say that a classical Scorpio trap is trying to control. So this is not necessarily a great one for that. 29 degree often feels a bit out of hands. So if someone wants to leave or change, let them. We don't have to fight for them. Maybe this is not a time to sign for legal papers. It's a bit far too erratic. Uh, Maybe the final version is not necessarily just ready yet. So just let's wait a few days for that. And if the partner says something shocking, listen. It's potentially the truth coming out through that Uranus lightning bolt. Sun is also in your seventh house, squaring Pluto in your fourth. That's a clash. A clash between your daily chores, um, between your partnership as well as your deep-seated family and home issues. So you might feel like your roots are kind of like pulling you back from getting or moving forward within the relationship. It could actually talk to you because it's a square. So this could really talk to us about certain type of tensions, for example, with people you live together with. And this might be about relocation, for example. This is a tug of war where you feel the pressure of the partner's demands, and it's clashing somehow with your deep private need for privacy. You might feel like that the partner or someone is invading your kind of sanctuary. Or maybe this could be actually highlighting certain type of family secrets as well. A family who is kind of like getting dragged into your personal relationships. And that could be a little bit frustrating. I think it's about you setting the front door boundary. So be clear with people about what is private, what's my business, and don't get necessarily involved. This is about you transforming the foundation. If there is a bit of a rotten dynamic at home, we're gonna have to stop the leakage somehow because it's gonna leak into your marriage and partnership, and that can cause frustration. And maybe you have to realize that the certain type of power struggles you are having with someone is actually reflecting a very deep internal kind of like shift in your own roots. I think, negatively speaking, this is about someone who might want to bully you. They are trying to get you out of your stability in a way. They are trying to emotionally manipulate you, manipulate your emotional security, basically. Um, this might be also a decision that you want to be retreating into a bit of a silence, or you go back into your own cocoon. Often we might do that with this position because we want to punish the partner. And if a partner points out a deep pattern, for example, in your behavior, just look at it honestly before reacting. That sun also is in a beautiful sextile to the nodes or a trine, and that is in your fifth and 11th house. So that might be a sense of peace returns to you or to your one-on-one life, basically. You might see how your current relationship actually supports your creative joy, or even your social circles. This could be brilliant for collaboration. You can be spending the day doing something fun, artistic with the partner, going to a theater and all those type of stuff. It's about building certain type of shared memories in a way. But if you had a fight, for example, on the 25th, today is the day just to forgive, to accept or to give apology to someone. It's a bit of a peace offering, so we might want to, come around with a bar of chocolate, a bunch of flowers, and so forth. And this is also about you guys are socializing as a power couple. We're just gonna go and meet a group of friends. The North Node still wants you to enjoy life to the fullest. Maybe the sun in Taurus just wants to be, you know, so we don't have to look for problems, and maybe others have to kind of understand that as well. I think don't let your friends kind of dictate how you should treat certain people or how you should be appearing in front of others. And don't forget the physical activities. It's a bit, you have got a very strong sixth house. So this is about going for a walk together, eating together, spending time in nature. That could be a very good way to ground the scorpionic energies, actually. So now we do have got, like I said, a very strong sixth house. And that's a bit of an emotional plumbing for me. It's about using or trying to fix something broken. Potentially, you might be wanting to fix something that is literally in your home or even psychologically as well. There could be a lot of stress, so therefore go and hit the gym. Do heavy manual labor a little bit. Maybe you want to be just, getting things cleared, for example, in the shed, in the garden, a bit like outside. And maybe you need just space, where no one can touch in a way So the sixth house is often a lot of work. So therefore, the rest becomes super important here as well. Or potentially, this might be telling you not to bring home the stress. Keep your domestic stuff separate from what you have to be doing at work. And yeah, that's a couple of piece of advice that I would give you. By the way, I did make a video about Uranus moving into Gemini, and I broke it down for all 12 signs. So you might want to be revisiting that video because here I'm just giving you a bit of a summary. I would also say that, of course, with the strong sixth house, just be aware of your physical strength. You might feel a little bit burnt out at work, for example. Colleagues can frustrate you. You can get into certain type of arguments with them as well. Make sure that you make new goals and then you kind of go towards them. And maybe that should be around getting rid of certain type of health habits, for example. I think this week it's all about you having to be outgoing. Maybe you just need a partner to kind of boost your confidence a little bit, but we shouldn't be expecting them to kind of validate us all the time. So we have to find ways as well of feeling good in our skin. Maybe while we have got Psyche moving into your ninth house, we've got Jupiter there. This might be about making certain type of travel plans. The fifth house activations is holiday as well. So that even can become a really good idea this week. So good luck, Scorpio, and I will see you next week. Take care. Bye bye.